Hello, and welcome to Accessibility in the iPad. My name is Kate Mosley, and I'm an AT specialist. I am a Tasc employee that contracts with STAR to provide AT webinars and trainings. You can view these trainings at www.startraining.org. This PowerPoint will be available so you can review the slides as needed. If you have any additional questions or have an idea for a webinar you'd like me to demonstrate, please email me at kmosley@ucphuntsville.org. So just a little bit about Tasc and STAR. Tasc stands for Technology Assistance for Special Consumers. We do AT consultations, informal sessions, and technical assistance. We also have a lending library where you can check out our equipment for 2 to 3 weeks. This equipment includes switches, mounts, adaptive toys, communication aids, and more. STAR is Alabama's assistive technology resource. Their website, AT for All, is an online database that provides current inventory of AT and medical equipment. If you cannot find a piece of equipment that you're looking for, you may also post want ads. This equipment includes wheelchairs, scooters, shower bath aids, commodes, and more. This presentation is a general overview of the accessibility features within the Apple product system. These features are compatible with the iOS 8.4 system. You need at least an iPad 3 or newer or an iPhone 4S or newer to use all the features I will review. If you are unsure about what system and device you have, please make sure your device is fully updated. Then visit apple.com or go to an Apple store for more help. To find all of the features, tap the Settings app, tap General, and then Accessibility. If you are ever lost or confused, there are hints under the on-off switch for some of the features, and you can always visit apple.com/accessibility. I will now show you how to access these features. After each section I present, I will show you the feature on the iPad. Feel free to follow along, but do not turn on anything till we review it. It is possible to get stuck in features, which can cause some frustration. So to start, we are going to go into our Settings app. It looks like a little gear, and it's here at the bottom left hand of my screen. Now that we're in our Settings app, we need to click on General. Mine is already highlighted. Once you click General, you're going to scroll down till you see Accessibility. This is where all of our accessibility features are located.
Before we really get into this presentation, I want to review our exit strategy. At the very bottom of the accessibility features, you will notice the Accessibility Shortcut tab. Before you activate any of the features, make sure that this is on and that all of the options are selected. This shortcut brings up a small menu when the home button is triple-clicked. This menu allows you to turn on or off any of the accessibility features you select. Another way to turn on or off a feature is to activate Siri and then tell her to turn on or off whatever feature you have. I will now demonstrate how to turn on your accessibility shortcut. So if we're in our accessibility settings, we're going to scroll all the way down to the very bottom and it says Accessibility Shortcut. Tap this and you'll be given a small list of menu items. I like to make sure that all of these items are clicked. You'll know they've been selected when there's a blue arrow next to the name. Now, when I triple click the home button, a small menu pops up. From here, I can turn on or off any of the accessibility features listed. Now let us get into our first section, Vision. This category is for individuals with vision impairments. So our vision basics are mostly self-explanatory. Grayscale removes color from the screen, and large text will make the text larger, for example. Bold text makes the font for all software bold. It should be mentioned that to change all the text to bold, the iPad will turn off and back on again. When the iPad restarts, all the text will be in bold. Reduce motion will minimize screen changes and alters. For example, tapping the home button will not make the screen shrink down, but calmly fade into another screen. Button shapes and on-off labels will change the tabs by indicating a shape to selectable items or indicating with a line or a circle for on and off. Last of the basics is the increased contrast. Here you can reduce transparency of menu items, darken colors for the whole screen, and reduce white points. The best way to understand these features are to experience them for yourself. Now let us move into Zoom. Zoom is a wonderful feature, but it does take some practice to master. There are two types of zoom on iProducts. Full screen zoom, which uses your entire screen to zoom on one portion of the screen, and then window zoom, which uses a small window on the screen to zoom. Once zoom is turned on in the settings, you can use 3 fingers to double tap and the zoom will appear. Another 3-finger double tap will exit you out of zoom. Drag 3 fingers to move the zoom around. I will now demonstrate zoom. Remember, if you are ever stuck, you can always use your handy-dandy accessibility shortcut. So we'll start from our accessibility menu. Tap on zoom and turn zoom on. I have it set to window zoom, so as you can see, a small part of my screen allows me to zoom in on part of my larger screen. If I want to move it around, I hold the little tab and move my finger where I would like to zoom. If I'd like to change to full screen zoom, the full entire screen becomes zoomed in. I'm using 3 fingers to move and alter where I'm looking. Back in our zoom features, we have a few other settings we can change with zoom. Follow focus will follow your finger and zoom in wherever you place your finger. Smart typing will change to window zoom when a keyboard is present. This means that you won't have to navigate the keyboard with your small zoom. Instead, the keyboard will appear fully and the window above the keyboard will be zoomed in. Show controller is a nifty little controller that can appear. From here, you can zoom in, change what kind of zoom you have, resize the lens, and increase or decrease the amount of zoom present. Here, you can change between window zoom and full screen zoom, and this small bar allows you to adjust the level of zoom you need. Next up is speech. Speech gives us the option to speak text that we select. You can select text by tapping and holding our finger on the screen, and then we will be given a speak option as shown in the bottom picture to the left. There is also a speak screen option that when you swipe 2 fingers from the top of the screen, you can hear the content of the entire screen. Within the speak features, you can change the voices used, highlight the words as they are spoken, and speak auto text, which will speak words as they are auto-corrected. I will now demonstrate these speech features. In our accessibility features, we are going to go to speech. From here, you can turn on-off speech selection, on-off speak screen, change the voice, increase or decrease the speaking rate, highlight the content as that it's spoken, and speak auto text. Under voices, you have the option to do many different languages, and when you click a language, you are given even further options. You can have 3 different qualities of voices that speak back to you. I'm using Alex. Alex is the highest quality English speaking voice. It delivers natural sounding speech by taking pauses and even imitating breaths when speaking. Last but definitely not least in the vision category is voiceover. This presentation will only briefly mention voiceover, but if you have any more questions, please go to the Voiceover for Apple Products webinar for an in-depth explanation. VoiceOver is a screen reader for Apple. Unlike speech, it will read everything you put your finger on. It is important to know that the commands for VoiceOver will change. This means that tapping on something will not activate it. You must tap and then double tap to activate a button or app. If you get stuck in VoiceOver, triple click the home button and then double tap VoiceOver, or ask Siri to turn it off for you. VoiceOver also gives you access to Braille display and typing in Braille on the iPad. I will now do a quick demonstration of VoiceOver. So again, this is just a quick overview of VoiceOver. If you are interested in learning more about VoiceOver or having an in-depth explanation, please watch my VoiceOver webinar. So starting in accessibility, we're going to go to VoiceOver, and we're going to turn VoiceOver on. When VoiceOver is on, you will notice a cursor under everything you put your finger on. Right now it started at settings. So if I put my finger on the speech button, the cursor will follow me there. If I drag my finger down to navigate images, the cursor will follow me there. Now because I am doing a recording, you can't hear the iPad, but everything my finger touches is spoken out loud to me. So when I have my finger over Braille, the iPad says Braille. Rotor, it says Rotor. Now VoiceOver does change the commands on your iPad. You can't just tap and have something activate anymore. You put your finger over the thing you'd like to select and then double tap. So if I'd like to go back into VoiceOver, I tap VoiceOver and then double tap to activate the button. Our next category is hearing. Here we can turn on subtitles and captioning, which works with movies bought from the iTunes store and some apps that have allowed this feature. We also have alternative alerts like the LED flash and the vibrate feature for notifications. You can also set up hearing aids that you can manage from your iPhone. I have listed a few companies here, there we go, that have compatible hearing aids. Last but not least are two common features most of us use every day. Siri is a great tool to use for speech to text. FaceTime is Apple's version of Skype and is great for those who use sign language. I will now show you where these features are on the iPad. I am using my iPhone for this part of the demonstration because the iPads do not have access to the LED flash alerts. So to start, we're going to go into Settings, into General, and then Accessibility, and here are our accessibility features. From here, if we scroll down, we get to the hearing category. Hearing aids is where you can hook up a hearing aid via Bluetooth and control it from your iPhone. LED for flash alerts shines a very bright light for notifications. We also have subtitles and captioning and video description for movies that you might want to play. Back at the home screen, this is what the FaceTime application looks like. It's a green box with a little video camera. By tapping on this app, you can have video chats with people. This is really great for sign language. Also, if you hold down the home button, Siri will activate. With Siri, you can tell her to send a text or open FaceTime. Now let us go over physical and motor skills support. Our basics include Siri, dictation, and specialized keyboards. When hooked up to a charger, you can say, "Hey Siri," without touching your phone, and Siri will activate. From here, you can say open maps for directions, call mom to start up a call, or even open your favorite apps. Dictation can be accessed from the dictation button on the keyboard located here. It looks like a small microphone. The built-in keyboard also gives us access to shortcuts such as pic, P-I-C, can be turned into picture without me having to type the entire word. The keyboard also supports word prediction. So in this box I typed I am, and already it's giving me options for what I might text next based on my prior texts. Our first major feature in this category is Assistive Touch. Assistive Touch is a small window that appears when it is turned on. For example, it is right here. This window allows you to access the most important features and gestures, such as locking your device, accessing the home button, and other shortcuts. You can even create your own gestures and save them for easy access in any app. Assistive Touch does work on any screen. One of the greatest features about Assistive Touch is that it is compatible with switches. I will now demonstrate the Assistive Touch features. To turn on Assistive Touch, we're going to go into Settings, Accessibility, and now we're in our Accessibility features. We're going to scroll down towards the bottom till we see Assistive Touch. From here, tap the tab to turn it on, and a dot will appear on your screen. By tapping this dot, the menu will pop up, which gives you access to your favorite gestures. This could be tapping the home button, access, and even going into your control center. You can also store your favorite gestures. I will now show you how to create your own gestures. By going into General, Accessibility, and then tapping on Assistive Touch, we can now create new gesture. So let's say for an app I might need a swirl. That gesture is then saved. I can name it swirl. And now when I tap my Assistive Touch, go to Favorites, I can perform a swirl motion. In my opinion, switch access is the most important feature in the physical and motor skills category. I have already made a webinar in switch access, so if you would like to have a more in-depth explanation, please watch my All About Switch Access for the iPad webinar. You can connect a switch either through Bluetooth or physically through a switch interface. After your switch is attached, label it and assign it a task through the Switch tab. Once you turn on switch control, you should be able to access your entire iPad with just your one switch. I will now do a brief demonstration on switch access. So again, if you want to know more information about switch access, please watch my switch access webinar. But just as a brief demonstration, I have connected my Bluetooth switch via Bluetooth. I am now going to go into General, Accessibility, scroll all the way down to Switch Control, and turn Switch Control on. So you'll notice a blue cursor moving through all of my options. I have auto scanning on, so the bar will move by itself. I don't need to push a switch to change between the options I have available. So now if I hit the switch, I can select things. You can actually control your entire iPad with just the movement from switches. Our last category is guided access. Guided access is a great tool for students who are easily distracted. This feature allows only one app to stay open and stays on that app until a passcode is entered. You can control time spent on an app, what buttons an app a student can access, and even what spaces the student can touch. I will now demonstrate this feature. So starting in our accessibility features, we're going to scroll down until we see guided access. Once you turn guided access on, a list of settings will appear. In passcode settings, you can set a guided access passcode. So for the purpose of this webinar, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also use Touch ID. If you have an iPhone 5 or newer, or an iPad Air 2 or newer, you can access the Touch ID by placing one of your fingerprints on the home button. You can find those settings here. Time limits allows you to set a specific amount of time that you would like your student to be in one app. You can have them speak the remaining time they have available, or make sounds when the time is complete. You can also access your accessibility shortcut. I highly recommend turning this on. I think it is important to have accessibility shortcut open at any time. That way you can easily access an exit strategy. So let's see what guided access looks like. Let's go into a calculator app and turn on guided access. We'll triple click the home button, so 1, 2, 3, for our accessibility shortcut menu. From here, we'll tap guided access. a small message will appear that says guided access has started. So now I can access any and all of the buttons in this app. However, when I touch the home button, I am unable to go to our home screen. I also cannot switch between apps by double-clicking the home button. Now, if I'd like to exit guided access, I triple-click the home button and I'm given the accessibility shortcut. From here, I type get guided access, and now I have to enter my passcode. Once I enter my passcode, I am brought up to this menu. This is the guided access menu. Here I can change the time limit, change hardware buttons that are accessible. For example, do I want the iPad to move, or would I like it to have access to the keyboard? You can change those features here. You can also make it so that the student can't even touch the screen of the iPad. This means that the app will go through its normal routine, but touching the iPad will not activate any of the buttons in the app. Last but not least, if you draw on the app screen, for example, circling AC, I can block off that part of the screen. Now, if I tried to do something and maybe erase it, I am unable to tap that part of the screen. To turn it off, triple click, type in your passcode, and push end. You'll know it's ended when a small message appears letting you know that guided access has ended. That is the end of my presentation on accessibility. If you have any additional questions, please email me at tasc@ucphuntsville.org. That's TASC@ucphuntsville.org. Thank you.